Oh, we're close to New Year's. We're close to 2024. And I'm sorry to say, I enjoy every single day the best you can. And I'll leave it at that. I'm sure a lot of you understand where that heads. Unfortunately, not in a good direction. Lindy London, analog synth player, Andrew Cruz, and Julie. Hello. Sherry. Hey. Back on time. Marty Lauderdale. Hey. Thank you very, very much, both of you. Patricia White. Wonder Why. Blues du Jour. Angelos. Hello. Haskell's Son. Hello. TFL at War. Hello. Third Eye Sore. Hi. Cecilia Amarati. Hi. And Atena, hello. Willow. Who else is in the house? It's Friday night. You should all be out. Having a good time. What are we doing? Stuck here. And Chill X Nick. Chill X Nick 89. Hi, Steve Ladner. Hello. Did I miss Silent Walk? Yes, hello, Silent Walk. Nice to see everybody at a time. ML, Barb in Ohio, and Paige. Seabrook. Seabook. Seabook. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'd love to be able to say, I'm really tired. I didn't sleep well for the past 2 nights. I had my propane tank filled yesterday, and for some coincidental reason, no, I guess you have to bleed the air out or whatever. I had no heat. It was friggin' cold. But I have to say, oh boy, I don't love him, but my landlord is such a sweet young guy. You know, I was up at 2:30 in the morning. I was like, okie dokie, maybe I should have bought oh, it's Thursday night. Yay, thank you. Thank you, Cecilia. I don't know what night it is. Anyway, no, I don't call. You know, I would never call a landlord at 2:30 in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning. But I did call him at 8, and he got right over here. He got right on it. He had to call the propane company because propane regulator was needed. But perhaps not. I think it was just the air in the tank. But it's fixed. Yes. Yes. Still no resolution with the dog. Still hopping over the fence. Still untangling the legs of this dog from this lead that gets tight, and it's a wire. It's, you know, there was a little bit of plastic on the lead, but the dog chewed it off, and now it's just wire. You know, there are so many problems that could just be fixed instantaneously. Simple fixes, but I don't understand. I don't understand. But, my eyes all day long. And I don't think it's because I'm tired. Oh, that's why I brought all of this up. I just suck at pronouncing names, so I apologize. I wish that I could say, you know, that it's the stroke, that it's the I'm tired. No, I've been like this forever. So, yeah. Tranquil Vortex, hello. My eyes are incredibly itchy. And I heard from a a neighbor who said, it's what they used to say, if you're wanting to have allergies, move to Arizona. I don't know about that. There is a lot of dust in the air, tremendous amount. So, Mama Rage is Oracle 11. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Donna Davidson, Catherine Owens. I'm a bright spot in your day. Wow, thank you. Thanks. Oh, not feeling that bright. Not feeling like a bright spot in anybody's day. So I appreciate it. Still getting those fabulous emails. And I don't know what it is. There are things that I want to be talking about, but I just can't get to it. No, they've never called animal control on him, Paige. But he's off tomorrow. He's supposed to be fixing the fence, and he is supposed to take the dog off the lead. I can't talk to the guy anymore. I've been dealing with this guy for months, not just, in the last couple of weeks. Months. He does not listen at all, not at all, and he says the most absurd, irrational things. And that's when I lose it. I can't. I walk away. I can't deal. But to the other neighbor on the other side, she said, either you get that fence fixed and get Boo Boo off the lead, or she's going to call a rescue and start looking for a place for him. Animal control, I don't know what the hell happened, but if he doesn't fix that fence tomorrow, from what I'm hearing from everyone, is animal control here in this county horrible. And they put down the dogs. They put down the animals that they catch every Thursday. That is not what I want for this dog. But I sure as hell do not want this dog to be tortured every friggin' day by his owner. So, he's not quite right. Yeah. Very not right. And it's very hard to live watching this, because I see it. It's right smack there. I hear it. And it's, this, I can deal with no heat. I can deal with, the internet went down today. I thought, did I forget to pay my bill? No, because it's due tomorrow, but it's paid. And I can deal with an awful lot. Dogs running after my cats and everything. I cannot deal with somebody who is literally torturing both of his dogs. One's not on a lead, the other one's on a lead, and the one on a lead gets tripped up all the time. I've got to leap over the fence to get that dog moving again, his 3 feet of movement. But the other, he's taken away the only fun that these dogs have. Now, I know that I've said this before, but this is really weighing on my heart and mind. Weighing on my heart more. I can't stand it. Nothing can depress me more. So, on that note, why don't we go to weather? Whether or not you want to go, we're going. Weather. So, this was sent to me by a subscriber in Scotland. Rare rainbow cloud spotted in UK skies. So, if you were on the live last night, I showed you a video that somebody took in Scotland of, wow, an ionized cloud sky. And here's an article about it. Residents across the UK have been amazed by rare sights in the sky on Tuesday and Wednesday evening. Wow. And they give us a reason for it, looking like a portal to the next dimension, or possibly a spaceship. The shimmering colors of Necresis cloud, I'm sure I mispronounced that, were spotted. One of the highest clouds in our atmosphere. They are often referred to as mother of pearl and are rarely spotted in the UK because of the exceptional conditions needed. They need very cold conditions over polar regions and within the stratosphere. Yada, 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 yada. Let's not call these ionized sky, ionized from all of the technology that they are using, and they brought about pretty bad storms in the UK. Oh, well, yeah. So, don't you feel sick of these people who just lie continuously? So, Storm Gerrit brings flooding and blizzard to the UK.
Storm Gerrit. Snow and heavy rain cause chaos and flooding in the UK. A major incident has been declared in parts of Scotland, where drivers were stranded by snowstorms following the arrival of Storm Gerrit. Six plows and 3 tractors were deployed in an attempt to rescue cars and a broken-down lorry from the A9 and surrounding roads. There are more than 100 flood warnings in place in parts of the UK as the storm disrupts seasonal celebrations. The West Midlands and East Midlands are expected to face the worst of the rising floodwaters. There are 102 flood warnings in force in England, particularly in the west from Carlisle to Bournemouth, with a further 26 in Wales and 15 in Scotland. Gerrit will continue to bring strong winds and heavy rain to many parts of Britain on Wednesday. Yellow warnings for wind and rain are in place across much of the UK.
And the UK. Lots of flooding. Road in Scottish town left submerged by flooding. Along with the cars. I hope it looks like these homes were flooded as well. Great. So, yeah, a lot of damage.
We delve into the heart-stopping saga of Storm Gerrit, a merciless tempest that swept across the United Kingdom, Scotland, and Ireland, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Brace yourselves as we unravel the dramatic events that unfolded, from the chaos in Greater Manchester to the relentless onslaught in the Scottish Highlands and the wild weather that tested Ireland's resilience. Planes struggled to land amidst the howling winds, setting the ominous tone for what was to come. Trees succumbed to the relentless gusts, and walls crumbled under the force of the tempest. But the a wind turned.
click on the link if you want to see more of the destruction brought about by the weather terrorists. Yeah. And I don't know what this channel is. This is like a new channel for me. I don't want to get a copyright strike, so. Australia! Gippsland.
Scale of the damage caused by deadly flash flooding in Gippsland has been revealed. The powerful wall of water at the Buchan campground flipped cars and smashed caravans, leaving behind a devastating mess. Reid Butler has this exclusive report.
When camping turns to chaos, a 3-ton caravan swept away and jammed against a tree. Car after car thrown and smashed like toys by this once-in-a-lifetime flash flood. 60 millimetres of rain fell in half an hour and the Buchan campground was swamped. Campers left everything behind as they scrambled to evacuate, but 2 didn't make it out, a man and a woman, still yet to be formally identified. Police using thermal imaging cameras to help locate the male's body 24 hours after the water receded.
It's just horrific news, particularly at this time of the year when people are in the festive mode.
The force of the flood was extreme. You can see where logs speared through bitumen. This washed away SUV also tearing up the road. Buchan Caves Reserve remains closed, but as the scale of the damage is revealed, it's clear the mess will cost millions to clean up and repair, and there's no indication of when the park and caves can reopen. That's led to...
The ripple effects are pretty intense. All of the businesses get affected because, well, a whole lot of people are not coming down for a drink in that area. Here, landslide threatens to swallow homes after Sydney floods.
Region all day today, and it belted down. One family's home is teetering on the edge of a cliff.
We didn't know as to how long we had or what's going to happen.
I just told my brother, tell everyone to get away, call emergency services, just get away from it.
I realised that, yeah, half my driveway was gone, my garden was gone, and my beautiful lawns were all gone as well.
The rain has been relentless in New South Wales, and as thousands of homes have flooded, residents on higher ground thought that they would be safe. But here in Emu Heights, there's a new danger, with landslides threatening to swallow homes like this one, which is teetering on the edge.
The Bush family's home is in the foothills of the Blue Mountains and usually surrounded by trees. But now they've disappeared.
We're so far off. We've endured bushfires, came very close to being evacuated for that as well. Never in a million years thought it'd be our driveway out of all things to go.
But that's exactly what happened. Their driveways become a giant hole after the earth beneath it crumbled.
Noticed that 2 of the rocks had rolled down the hill and there's a few trees missing.
That was in the morning. By the afternoon, half of Raslin's front yard was gone.
Okay, I'm going to link below. You can watch the remaining 5 minutes. Lots of destruction. Lots of destruction. Worst is yet to come with floods in the Netherlands, Germany, and Norway.
Water levels in the River Rhine have caused severe floods in parts of the Netherlands and Germany. Forecasts say the peak of the flooding in the Netherlands will take place tomorrow. In some parts of the country, temporary dikes have already been built to control the flooding. Farmers in the Netherlands have warned the poor weather conditions may affect the potato and sugar beet harvest. In neighbouring Germany, several storms in quick succession have meant heavy rains on an already soaked ground. Near Bremen, the River Weser has burst its banks. Some homes and farms on the edge of the suburbs have been flooded. In Norway, many cities are on high alert as heavy snowfall has meant the roads are extremely slippery and dangerous, causing several traffic accidents and injuries. Storm Henk is forecast to hit southern Scandinavia on Sunday morning.
And let's see, we have the good old northeast in the United States.
Rain coming down in sheets overnight. The fast-moving storm traveling up the I-95 corridor on one of the busiest travel days of the year.
Traveling up the I-95 corridor, what do we have that has littered our interstates? Gwen Towers. What are Gwen Towers? Those are the very long antenna with the copper wiring coming down in a perfect 360 circumference, and they can emit extremely low frequencies through the ground, shake it up, all of the road damage that you see and the bridges collapsing, or they can emit these frequencies into the atmosphere and control the weather.
We have full team coverage tracking the weather, what to expect on the roads and in the skies. We start with our transportation correspondent, Gio Benitez. Gio, good morning.
Eva, good morning to you. This storm caused a slew of flight delays yesterday. But remember, the majority of people traveling right now are driving, and we've seen a mess on the roads. Overnight flooding, a threat for millions across the Northeast, drivers navigating rain-soaked streets in New York City. Remnants of the storm making for mayhem in South Dakota. After 17 inches of snow fell, drivers forced to abandon their cars after sliding off Interstate 90. Semi-trucks jackknifing. This one completely flipped over. In Missouri, snowfall reducing visibility for drivers to less than a mile. And in the skies, another busy travel day expected. Travel troubles not limited to weather. Southwest Airlines encountering a number of bird issues this past week. A Southwest flight bound for Austin.
We had a big flock of birds we went through. We may have even hit one there.
Turned around and returned to Fort Lauderdale yesterday following a bird strike shortly after takeoff.
Do you need an emergency vehicle? We need everything you have.
This is the second bird strike for Southwest in the last week. And overseas, passengers and crew members aboard an American Airlines flight from LAX to London forced to make a wild landing. The Boeing 777 could be seen drifting a bit on its approach, the crew struggling to bring the plane to a safe landing at London's Heathrow Airport. Oh! This holiday travel season on track to break records.
It's been a lot busier the last couple times we traveled.
Airlines for America says the airlines have sold more than 39 million seats during the busiest part of the holiday season. That's up 16% compared to last year. Now,
every holiday, there seems to be problems with the weather. Severe weather. Every holiday. Beirut, Lebanon. Look at their interstates or their highways. All of this flooding, isn't it amazing? And Beirut, Lebanon, Israel, the warring going on. Here, Argentina floods devastate New Bridge. Houses, not just a bridge, all the mud. Fabulous, isn't it? No. How about the Congo, Democratic Republic of the Congo? Weather terrorists. People need to start asking questions because, well, it ain't what the narrative, that narrative, it ain't that. It's not. And here, a Croatian parliamentary member, to the EU Parliament is, well, read the text. I mean, look, those of us who have been posting on weather modification for so long, that's what got me started, the geoengineering and the weather modification, and I'm going on 14 years. I'm on my 14th year. Got nowhere with it? Nowhere?
Zakon o obnovi prirode. Kako to lijepo zvuči, tko se ne bi složio s time? Međutim, prava istina je da je ovdje riječ o samo još jednom ogromnom idiotizmu kakvog smo u ovom domu vidjeli već bezbroj puta. Jedini pravi cilj ovog zakona je konfiskacija privatnog vlasništva i oduzimanje poljoprivrednog zemljišta poljoprivrednicima, što ima krajnji cilj, a to je nedostupnost organske hrane građanima. Znači, želi se onemogućiti prosječnom građaninu da može jesti normalnu hranu. To je zakon, bi bilo bolje da se zove Zakon o nedostupnosti hrane građanima Europske unije. Nekada u komunizmu bilo je barem malo dostojanstva, pa su se zakoni o konfiskaciji privatnog vlasništva nazivali Zakonom o konfiskaciji. Sada ih nazivate Zakonom o obnovi planete Zemlje, obnovi prirode. Pa to su gluposti i idiotarije. Hvala.
Sorry if there was reverb, I forgot to turn off my mic, but it's not that. And, Microsoft. Bill Gates? Microsoft buys over 1,000 acres of farmland in Wisconsin. Racine County, Wisconsin. The 3 transactions to make it 1,000 acres, nearly totaling $176 million. And is he going to be farming? No. He plans to invest nearly $1 billion in a data center. In a data center? Well, they're going to need a lot of those centers for what they are building, which we'll get to in a second. But apparently, Mark Zuckerberg has purchased land in Hendersonville, Tennessee, right by Nashville, so he can have a home away from home. He purchased it on a lot that allows him to remain anonymous. Well, I guess he's not anonymous because a whistleblower blew the whistle. My sources believe that he's building a house in Tennessee because his Meta data center, Facebook, Microsoft, they're all building these data, or Meta, should I say, Meta data center, which opened in Gallatin, Tennessee. Yeah, $800 million data center. Data centers all over, huh? They need it for their Internet of Things. They need it for that artificial intelligence. They need it to control everyone on the planet. No joke. It ain't a joke. Here, let me play just a few minutes of this, and I will link below to the full video, but very succinctly, simply does she put the construction of a control grid. And it's operating. A whole lot of people are already being controlled, and they don't know it. Why? Because they don't really understand their own self. They don't know who they are. So they can be so subtly influenced by electromagnetic frequencies, changing their views, changing their opinions, changing their behavior.
Let's start at the beginning. The powers that control the world have been endeavoring to find a way to control the world's population. In order to do this, their plan has been to establish a control grid that is run by emerging technologies, that it covers the entire world and connects every human body as a node on the network of that grid. The control grid they have established is called the Global Information Grid, which is a worldwide network of information transmission and associated processes, which includes all the infrastructure, which is your communications networks, electronics, software, and all databases in the world. It is on this same grid that they operate something called the Lethal Autonomous Weapons System, which is a system of weapons that are controlled remotely by people sitting behind computer screens, and sometimes they are even controlled by artificial intelligence. Included in these weapons are drones, killer robots, and electronic microwave weapons or directed energy weapons. These weapons are capable of and are in use right now, not only to kill people, but also to control people's movements, influence their thoughts and behaviors, create various diseases in selected areas of society, control politics, control economies, and even control the weather and natural disasters. The way they connect every person's body is through transhumanism, which is essentially merging humans with machines. Transhumanism is being carried out right now on an unsuspecting public through various forms of nanotechnology. They have put this technology inside of people's bodies that hooks people up to the control grid. Now humans and their surrounding environments can be tracked, traced, influenced, controlled. This control grid overrides and violates every human right, every law, and every local government and constitution of every country in the world. It is what I believe the Bible refers to as the beast in the end times. If you were the ruling elite and you wanted to control people, you can't just murder them all at once or pack them away in a physical prison building. There would be too much conflict and your plan wouldn't work. So instead, you turn the society into an invisible prison and make it so people don't realize that they're in prison. And at the same time, you benefit from creating the prison by getting rich off of their labor, especially if you control the fiat. So you can create money out of nothing, and then you can create the invisible prison where you control the population remotely. And this is what the control grid is. It's an invisible prison. People are now cattle, and all are being tracked and traced and manipulated or murdered with energy weapon technology. And they don't even know that they're in a prison grid. And they don't know that their bodies are hooked up to this grid. And they don't know that the illness, death, and other things that are happening are coming from invisible weapons that are being used on them. The reason why people don't know is because the governments that have been conspiring to do this have been launching massive psychological operations and propaganda campaigns using Tavistock brainwashing methods through controlled media, both mainstream and alternative. This has been going on to deceive the public and divert attention away from the prison that's being built around them and all the technology development that's being done to make the grid operate. This method is a military term called mosaic warfare, also known as net-centric warfare, and it's being carried out on the population right now. Now let me do my best to describe the layers of this control grid and how it works. We will start from the outer walls of the prison and work our way in. Surrounding the planet are satellites. Tens of thousands of them have just been launched into space starting in 2015 through 2017. A lot went up in 2017.
Okay, the link is in the chat again. She covers an awful lot of information. It's a very, very, very good video. But those satellites, wow, when I started posting on all of the satellites, I couldn't believe how many people were telling me there's no such thing as a satellite. A whole lot of them were the Christians who believe in the firmament. There's no satellites. Okay, there are satellites. There's a lot of satellites, in fact. In fact, our Razor Queen sent me this on Twitter. These are the Starlink, Elon Musk's satellites. There's a lot of them. There's a whole lot of them all over. And you can see some of them if you pay attention at night to what a whole lot of people think, oh, come on, it's a star. Well, don't you see it's blinking green or blinking red? Look at this. So this is the Starlink map. And it's not just Elon Musk's satellites, but there are even more. And how about those sensors? The sensors, oh God, this was years ago I posted on this. It was Hewlett-Packard that was dropping sensors into the atmosphere by the billions, the nanobot sensors. So we've got an awful lot happening in our fabulous, well, what we call, I guess, nature that has been taken over. Yeah, I don't like the takeover, not at all, but I will link below to this map here, or yeah, it's a Starlink map. Okay, link is in the chat. So, yeah, you know, it's coming to fruition, so I'll ask you guys, how do you know if your thoughts are yours? How do you know if you're not being controlled? The banks are not okay. So everything is falling apart. And what I've noticed is that no one is doing anything and hasn't done anything for a very, very long time. Now, when I say no one, okay, I'm talking about, on the whole, the majority of the awake crowd do nothing. So I wonder, the apathetic sense that I get from the awake crowd, misnomer, is that being instilled in you? If not, don't use it as an excuse. So, the banks are not okay. No, they're going down. Banks continue to lose deposits. According to data from the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, U.S. banks have now lost deposits for 6 consecutive quarters. And let me just say that a lot of those in finance, a lot of those who are economists, are 2024 is the year. 2024. Digital. 2024. Oh, that's in a few days. Some say April, whatever the month is. I mean, if they can get it together faster, they're going to pull the plug. What then? What then? A lot of people are going to be crying. Multiple financial executives commit suicide amid China's financial crisis. Financial crises are being orchestrated all over the world. First Costco, now Walmart. Major retailers now offer gold bars. I'd love your input. What do you think about this? I find it very strange. Very strange. So, and apparently these gold bars, certainly from Costco, who started it first, are going like that within hours. They're going. People are buying up the gold bars. Now Walmart. So, why? And why now? Because the executives of these companies certainly understand that the economy is tanking and that we are going into the digital currency. They know it. So why are they selling gold? Will they confiscate it, which may very well happen? Will they turn the gold into a digital currency, however much gold you have? Maybe, maybe not. But those selling the gold, they will turn that currency into the digital, or there's going to be maybe a two-tiered system taking place. One is digital for all of the cattle that they want to control, and the other one will be still paper currency, dollars, still existing and operating the same as it has for the elite, quote unquote. I don't know. But I find it strange. So, no, I wouldn't buy them because I'd be afraid that they wouldn't be real. All right. Could the entire banking system come tumbling down? Now, we all know that it is coming tumbling down. But I thought this was a very good article. I'm going to read much of it, and I'm going to link below to it for anyone who wants to maybe circulate it to those who actually think that we've got a sound system. How does one describe our present banking system? It is like an upside-down pyramid with the tippy top of it located at the bottom and the widespread base of it placed at the top. If even a slight wind comes along, it will knock down the entire enterprise. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Heck, you don't even need a breeze. This enterprise is as unstable as it conceivably can be. It's like a man wearing 10-inch high-heeled shoes. You look at him crossways and he falls down. Women have more practice. You need not look at him at all and he'll collapse. It's like a little kid getting on a bike for the first time with no training wheels. It's like someone's first run on stilts. It is like riding a unicycle for a trial run. It is like the first try at tightrope walking. Are you getting my drift? The banking system is teetering and tottering. Why is this? Okay, you know what? I'm not even going to read all about the fractional reserve demand deposit banking. I think a lot of us know what this fractional reserve deposit banking is and what it has led to. But talk about teeter-tottering. Yeah, so it's a lot to read, and I realized I'm just too tired, and I'm sorry. So, let me just read this last bit here. Boring, yes, but safe too. Well, what he was saying was that the banking system, it's not just one example. It's not as if one tightrope walker or an upside-down pyramid or stilts walker, it's in danger of taking a tumble and pulling a few hundred or thousands of dependents down. That's true, but it's as if all of those are attached by a rope. And if one falls, all are at risk. That is the entire economy. The entire economy. And when it falls, well, the example that he gave was that we're looking at 1933 or 1923 hyperinflation in Germany. We are in for it 2024. That's all I can say. I mean, we didn't do anything to protect ourselves, so. U.S. applications for jobless benefits rise, but labor remains solid. Yay! Labor remains solid. Oh, the lies they tell. More Americans applied for unemployment benefits last week, but not enough to raise concern about the labor market or broader economy. Oh. Wow. Wow, man. It's... Okay. And don't be surprised if soon this comes right back at you. Shocking discovery, viral levels in the water supply skyrockets. What's in the water supply? COVID-19. Severe are like the Burgundy, Maine, Vermont, Florida, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Tennessee, Alabama, Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, Utah, and Montana. They can do anything at this point. The lies are so outrageous and obvious that it makes very obvious they can tell the American people anything and they'll buy it. Or not. But it won't matter because they won't do anything about it. Kansas school approves Satan Club over objections of students and parents. A Satan Club in a Kansas school over the objections of 7,800 signatures. Students, parents, they don't care. They do not care. And here, they're talking about the First Amendment rights as if we have them. We don't. And talk about lying.
Just over 2 years ago, the Biden DOJ deployed an infamous memo instructing law enforcement to look into parents who were concerned about what was going on in their school systems, showing up at school board meetings. Since that infamous memo, the Biden DOJ has adamantly denied ever having issued any such directives. Here is AG Garland just over 2 years ago.
I did not do that. I did not issue any memorandum directing the investigation of parents who were concerned about their children.
New evidence, however, contradicts these statements, contradicts this position out of the DOJ. Joining us now with that evidence is Director of Protect the Public's Trust, Michael Chamberlain. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. Your response to Garland's statements there after 2 years of contradicting everything that we thought they were doing.
I think what the Attorney General was saying what could have been, I guess, categorized as very lawyerly, because they did, in fact, in the weeks after they issued the memo, which came, as you might remember, on the heels of the National School Boards Association sending out a letter that essentially equated parents protesting at school board meetings to domestic terrorism. And in the weeks after Attorney General Garland issued his memo, the Executive Office of U.S. Attorneys issued their own memo, and that required the 93 U.S. attorneys' offices around the country to hold meetings with local officials to work on ways to implement the memo that Attorney General Garland issued earlier. And they had 2 weeks to hold the meetings, and they were required to report back to the executive office in Washington, D.C. about the meetings and other details about who attended them and the topics that they discussed. So there was some action to implement it, despite denials that by officials at the FBI and other offices within DOJ.
Oh, the lies. Can't we just do something about the lies? Can't we hold anybody accountable for their lies? No. No. Now it's a rogue, well, criminal organization, for sure, in Washington, D.C., that just operates, as it wants to operate. Rule of law is only implemented against the ordinary Americans. And, well, unfortunately, not even when they're shoplifting or committing crimes. Oh, we're in a really bad shape. And I was sent this by a subscriber who, the heading of the email was WTF.
Story tonight comes from Japan, and before I dive into the details, I want to warn you. This story will leave you shocked, appalled, perhaps even dejected, because it is an indicator of where we're headed as a society. Do you know what people in Japan are doing? They're killing their parents. They're murdering the elderly. Why? Because they can't take care of them. There's a term for it, caregiver fatigue. So exhausted are the young in Japan that they're killing their parents. Japan is now grappling with high rates of carer killings. I'm not exaggerating. Reports suggest that Japan's healthcare system is at breaking point. The pandemic put a lot of stress on healthcare workers all over the world. But in Japan in particular, the situation is far worse. It's not news that a record 29.1% of Japan's population is now above retirement age. But a new study says every 8 days in the decade to 2021, an average of one elderly person was killed by a family member. Let that sink in. The study finds that young family members are killing a relative they were forced to care for in their old age. And
all right, I'm sorry. This was hard to listen to. I'll put the link in the chat, and you can listen to the remainder of this broadcast, but it was, wow, societies all over the world are really, demonstrating that they just can't handle life. But a whole lot of people are getting sick. That's also a real problem. Now, look at what Canada is doing. Look at what we do. We just throw away the elderly onto the street. Too bad. I'm jacking up the rent $500, so you can't afford it. Get the hell out. Somewhere, there's got to be care for these elderly people. Because if there's no care for them, there's no care for you. There's no care for you who are younger. If we can't demonstrate care for any age group, there's no care. Because care is not selective. So, a whole lot of the world is, you look at this humanity, and it's not. We've destroyed ourselves. Israel-Hamas war. Israel expands attacks in Gaza, killing. Hey, well, this is what a whole lot of people have become. Killing machines.
And Israeli forces are widening military operations all across the Gaza Strip as humanitarian crisis continues.
Meantime, a number of humanitarian organizations saying that there's no safe space left in the Gaza Strip. Israel is expanding its attacks across that region. Marianne Rafferty has more on the effort to get supplies to civilians.
Combat is intensifying across the Gaza Strip. In the north, Israeli forces continue rooting out Hamas terrorists from some of their last remaining strongholds in the region.
We started strong, and now we need to turn it up.
Meanwhile, IDF troops are ramping up blasts on Hamas infrastructure in central and southern Gaza.
The next steps in the fight will also be powerful, deep, and surprising.
Fighting in crowded urban neighborhoods has already forced tens of thousands of Palestinians from the north to flee south. But Israel's widening attacks are triggering thousands more to move again. The ongoing mass displacements are pushing already overwhelmed refugee camps past their breaking points.
Either you let me live or you kill me. I don't want to see the tragedy of my children when they say they want bread and I am unable to bring it to them.
The escalating civilian death toll in Gaza also comes as the World Health Organization says almost all of the region's hospitals have stopped running.
Either because the facilities themselves have been affected, because the staff have been forced to flee, because they run out of power.
Dozens of bodies seen here being buried in a mass grave in southern Gaza. But nearby in this refugee camp, volunteers are leading hundreds of kids through games, activities, and dances to try and distract them from the traumas of war. Meanwhile, Israel is trading more fire with Hezbollah militants across its northern border with Lebanon as Houthi rebels in Yemen continue attacking commercial vessels in the Red Sea. Marianne Rafferty, Fox.
War, 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 war. Okay. Guy, a 23-year-old Israeli, got arrested a few times for protesting the genocide in Gaza.
My name is Gayadan. I'm 23 years old from Haifa. I'm an activist in the anti-occupation bloc. And ever since the 7th of October, me and my friends are being harassed and sometimes arrested over our attempts of protesting against the ongoing atrocities in Gaza and the West Bank. Freedom of speech and the freedom to protest was always limited here. But these days it's almost impossible to say you're against the war without fearing for your safety or your freedom being taken away. And it's even more dangerous if you're a Palestinian. During my arrest about a month ago, because I protested in Kholef Center against the war, the cops in the station kept chanting songs about returning to Gush Katif settlement and about killing the people of Gaza. They kept calling us sluts and they called us traitors. We cannot let them to silence us like they wish they can do, and we cannot allow ourselves to sit in silence while the people of Gaza are being massacred and the people of the West Bank are suffering in the hands of settlers and the military. I plead all who's watching to take action against the silencing of us, but most importantly, to raise your voice against the ongoing massacre in Gaza right now.
Well, the reason why it's very important to circulate information is because it can get to someone that can be influenced by what someone is saying. That's why we circulate information. So, here, I'll put the link in the chat. And speaking about the West Bank, all of these communities are being invaded by Israeli forces. So the war is not just in Gaza. They're literally stripping Palestinians of everything. West Bank, Gaza, of everything. Their homes, their lives, their livelihoods, and unbelievably, Lauren Wise, author of erotica classics, whatever, is claiming that she's going to be suing Max Blumenthal for a rant that she claims now she's going to sue him for defamation, but you have to prove that you didn't say something that the other person is saying that you said. And guess what? It's going to be a little bit hard for her because she said it and she's right there on video saying it. And what it was telling a Palestinian woman that she should be raped in front of her kids for having a Palestinian flag on her car. Okie dokie. You know what? I'm just posting the link. I can't listen to that. It's pretty outrageous, but she's now claiming that she didn't say it. Good luck. And good luck in this world. Because a whole lot of people capture. They capture and they store what people say and what people do. It's a whole different world that we're living in now. But this really, like, I don't know, shake my head. In Israel, it appears that they have taken their campaign in the ongoing conflict to an extreme. The country's embassy in South Korea, the Israeli embassy in South Korea has released a video. And this is the video. Like, South Koreans. This is what would happen if Hamas took over or attacked the Republic of Korea.
우리 할머니 크리스마스 장갑 낄까? 어둠에 묻힌 밤 감사 기도 드리세.
문자 봤어요?
문자 뭐 왔어요?
As bad as October 7th was, and we're finding out that the Israeli military actually killed a lot of those Israelis, but as bad as it was, it didn't come out of the blue, so you need to put it in context to understand what was going on. But you're really going to post a video on what would happen, imagine, if it happens to you, South Koreans? Really? Yeah, Hamas. Hamas has in mind South Korea after it's blown away by the Israeli military in Gaza. Then it's just going to hop to South Korea. And yeah, psychopaths all around. All around. And a whole lot of them happen to be Americans. Non-Jews, too.
I've been saying for 6 months now, hit Iran. They have oil fields out in the open. They have the Revolutionary Guard headquarters you can see from space. Blow it off the map. I've been saying for 6 months now, hit Iran. They have oil fields out in the open. They have the Revolutionary Guard headquarters you can see from space. Blow it off the map.
This is, look, perfect capture of his face. These people are killers. They are killers. He probably prays to John McCain. My God. Well, yeah, I'm kind of stuck on what we could have done, but didn't. And, you know, every day you see a little bit more of this expansion, this war expansion, and this kind of talk. Yeah. Well, guess what? Americans fighting any country on our soil, we ain't winning. We don't win wars. And we sure as hell are not going to be winning any war that comes to our doorstep. But you have these people who will be fine. They'll be fine. But they leave you vulnerable to an awful lot of violence, whether it's the war, whether it's the sleeper cells activation. Get ready for that. The rule of law in our country that has been pretty much eliminated. So an awful lot of people are committing very serious crimes and walking free. All right, well, the list is long of what these people have done to us, rendering us vulnerable. And they're nothing. They're not any better. They're far worse than most ordinary Americans walking around. Just because they hold on to these powerful positions doesn't mean squat. It doesn't mean anything. They're sick, psychopathic, narcissistic traitors. They're treasonous scum. And they continue to destroy our lives. And they walk scot-free. This is wrong. Venezuela launches a 5,000 plus troop exercise in response to UK warships approach. So this is for the oil in a little area of Guyana, Essequibo, and UK sends their warships. Now Venezuela is launching their troop exercises. The US is already there in Guyana training their troops. Oh. I so wish we lived not what we're living. So, a shrunken arsenal. What is this? A shrunken arsenal. The alarming decline of U.S. munitions. So, we are cheerleading for war with Iran, China, Russia, and, well, we've been sending our munitions overseas, and we have very little left. And in this article it says that we would be able to withstand fighting against China for 3 weeks. 3 weeks? U.S. is coordinating the actions of both the Serbian government and the Serbian opposition. This is what we do. This is the morally superior, exceptional country. Mass protests have begun in Belgrade. Opposition members and their supporters who disagree with the results of the recent parliamentary elections have taken to the streets blocking roads, attacking government buildings. Law enforcement agencies are responding by trying to contain the unrest. The situation is heating up. An attempt to be made to stage a coup in Serbia on the model of Ukraine's Maidan in 2014. Most experts believe that the actions of the Serbian opposition are coordinated by Brussels and Washington because the Serbian president has been pushing back against the European Union, and, well, we Americans have our hands in everything. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. So, Colorado Secretary of State has just announced that Donald Trump is back on the ballot. All right, look, if I used to follow politics decades ago. Hey, you. I don't anymore. It's sickening to me. But it's all a staged play put on for the American people. You know, the left-right divide. Democrats, Republicans. Get them going, get them angry. Oh my God, all of the hoopla about Trump being kept off the Colorado ballot. Oh, now he's put back on. Which way do I go? It's all an orchestrated play, and Trump is involved in the play. And I can't, you know, we for sure know that a whole lot of these positions, they're not elected officials, they're selected officials. Don't we know that? The Republican side of the fence, the red team, I thought you knew it, but then Trump, well, he was elected. Wow. No. So, breaking point. Democrat mayors of New York, Chicago, Denver plead for help as migrant storm worsens. It's at a breaking point. So listen to this. Mayor Adams said, "We cannot allow buses with people needing our help to arrive without warning at any hour of day and night. For many months, we were able to keep the visualization of this crisis from hitting our streets, but we have reached a breaking point." In other words, they were putting them in hotels, but now there's so many that they're literally homeless on the streets. Okay, this is what Adams has now requested, all charter bus companies to provide a 32-hour advance notice on the arrival of migrants. More than 7,000 illegals have entered the intake system in the last 2 weeks. The city estimates 157,600 illegals have arrived since late spring. But I want to get to the good part. The trio of mayors, Denver, Chicago, New York, blame the migrant crisis on Texas Governor Abbott, indicating Abbott triples down on efforts to use asylum seekers as political pawns. It's Abbott's fault? Holy shit. This was like a Zoom conference call between these mayors. It's Abbott's fault. He's using these asylum seekers? Who is coming across the border that is a legitimate asylum seeker? Well, I guess we won't know that. Not until 2030. Oh. Okay, life is just really bizarre. The mayors, for good reason and likely fear of retribution, entirely omit that the Biden administration's disastrous open southern border policies are at the center of what sparked the invasion of millions of migrants and individuals on the FBI's terror watch list from all over the world into the U.S. ahead of the 2024 presidential election cycle? Really? So you have a major crisis, but you can't blame the people who are creating it. Instead, you're going to blame a Republican governor. Now, Abbott is he's part of this whole, orchestration of getting an awful lot of migrants into this country. But it's how can people believe anything that any politician says at this point? Here, the mayors even left out how the Biden administration unleashed a misinformation campaign against taxpayers, claiming the border was secure. We'll play it again.
I want to be very clear. Our borders are not open.
Really? They're not open? Oh, I guess you can't blame Mayorkas. You can't blame Biden because here, he says it. Okay? He says it.
I want to be very clear. Our borders are not open.
Okay? So, outrageous lie, but just accept it. Virtue signaling all along now face the reality of a migrant crisis, a consequence of their own party's failed progressive border policies. What a mess. Well, you look, do you really think that these mayors they had no foresight when they were doing their virtue signaling, making their cities a sanctuary city? You really think that they had no foresight to see what might transpire? I don't. In fact, this is pretty amazing. Chicago City Council blocks effort to allow citizens to vote on sanctuary city status. You can't vote in Chicago. Yeah, this is Jonathan Turley, who apparently went to Chicago visiting family, and wrote, "A vote of the city council was revealed that perfectly captured the hypocrisy in politics surrounding undocumented migrants in major cities. The council voted down an effort to allow voters to decide on whether Chicago should remain a sanctuary city. We're going to vote it down. We don't want to hear from the voters. We don't want to hear from the residents of Chicago. We want to continue just doing what we want to do." During Turley's visit, he writes, there were distribution areas of undocumented families near his mother's house on the north side. There were also a large number of tents now near the park for the burgeoning homeless population. What is striking about the vote is the contrast to the prior adoption of sanctuary city measures. Starting under Mayor Harold Washington, the city council was eager to vote on measures heralding its status as a sanctuary city and calling on migrants to come to the city. Mayor Rahm Emanuel reaffirmed Chicago's status as a haven for immigrants fearing deportation and encouraged them to view Chicago as a protected zone. You are safe in Chicago. This is what Rahm Emanuel said. You are safe in Chicago, you are secure in Chicago, and you are supported in Chicago. This is the city of inclusion. And then, of course, the former mayor, Lori Lightfoot, also did her virtue signaling. Legislation, as the city passed, to obstruct federal deportation efforts while declaring the city open for migrants. So these cities were in violation of federal law. And guess what? Our federal government did nothing about it. The mayors, council members, the representatives in the states where these sanctuary cities are, they violated federal law, but, well, I guess law enforcement decided to look another way. Anybody who thinks any law is actually going to get us anywhere, you really need to question your thoughts about that. Because it ain't. No, we're not a country ruled by law. We are a tyranny that's only getting worse and worse by the day. Polls indicate that the majority of Chicagoans oppose the sanctuary city policies. Nationally, some polls show 80% of voters oppose sanctuary city policies. On an earlier vote, the now mayor Johnson in Chicago, his floor leader, Alderman Carlos Ramirez Rosa, was accused of physically blocking West Side Alderman Emma Mitz from entering council chambers in an effort to prevent a quorum of alder people needed to vote on the resolution. He was also accused of threatening members who supported the effort to let the voter decide. He later resigned as floor leader. You know, if any state is more corrupt than others, it's Illinois. So, Mayor Johnson opposed the measure. He has publicly decried the cost of caring for migrants. He wants to stay technically a sanctuary city without offering quite so much sanctuary. Johnson blamed Abbott's reckless and dangerous decision to send buses of migrants to Chicago, despite the city proclaiming for years it's been open for migrants. Right? Yeah. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, opened up 230 hotel rooms for migrants, and Pritzker's not paying for it. You guys in Illinois are. As local citizens demand a change in state and city policies, given the anger of such residents, the city council has found a solution. Just don't let them vote. Just don't let the residents vote. Don't listen to them. Just keep doing what we're doing. And that does seem to be a trend around the country. What's happening now, presently, currently, is a reflection of everything only getting worse and we not doing anything about it.
Crisis at the border is marching on. Nearly 8,000 migrants are making their way to Texas. Now, they are expected to arrive any day now. This as U.S. leaders turn up the heat on Mexico. NBC's Chris Pallone explains.
Just hours after top Biden administration officials met with the president of Mexico, another bus arrived in New York City carrying migrants who recently crossed into the U.S. And with a new migrant caravan estimated to be 8,000 people now making its way through Mexico, Democratic mayors in several cities far from the southern border know the buses sent by Republican governors in border states like Texas will keep coming.
We expect the surge to intensify in the coming days and weeks.
Crossings at the southern border are down this week after last week saw record highs, more than 12,000 people coming into the U.S. a day. It has the leaders of border states and mayors of cities where the migrants often end up begging for help.
We cannot do this alone. We need more support from the federal government.
In a meeting with Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Mexico's president pressed the U.S. to spend more money in Central and South America to improve often deadly and dire conditions which are causing thousands to make the dangerous trek to the U.S.
Unless we can stop this flow through Mexico, our resources are overwhelmed, and that is, even after we spend billions on border security.
Members of Congress went home for the holidays without passing a border security bill.
I said, I'm out of here. I'm not going to sit here and vote on a bill that won't do anything.
Republicans see the border as a key issue as they try to win back the White House in November. Chris Pallone, NBC News, Washington.
Ow. Wow, well, they went to Mexico, so I guess they must be doing something, right? Wrong. So this is Ford Boss Me. The leaders behind the illegal migrant push. Listen, he received an email, and he reads the email for all of us.
I got a message from somebody that was quite shocking yesterday. And basically the guy was like, you guys think you know what's going on with the migrants, you really don't. And let me explain things to you from the perspective from the inside, from Mexico, kind of like what's going on and what we've seen as a community and stuff, what we've seen as a country, what we've seen that you guys don't know because you guys don't get to hear it from your news, your media, stuff like that. You're hearing it directly from the source, somebody that is dealing with it, that currently knows about it, that is living in it. And he says, I'm going to share some information with you, but please don't put my name out there. This information is going to be shocking. And I don't want my name to get out there because in Mexico, you can't speak freely without consequence. Sometimes there are people that will show up and do some things to you because of speaking freely. Here's the email. Hello, sir. Maybe you should do a video to inform about the orchestration behind the migrants. It is intentional, deliberate, and has a sick agenda for both the U.S. and Mexico. It is not the Democrats, nor are these migrants your traditional folks looking for a better life. Although some are, most are being instructed to just demand everything. The minds behind these organized with an agenda migrants lies in Cuba and are all the regimes that have infected with their narco-criminal franchise. You all need to understand who is behind the organized immigrants. The psychopath pseudo-president of Mexico, Manuel Andrés López Obrador, is the sick narco-funded criminal behind the waves of immigrants making it to the U.S. It is part of his agenda to use social, public instability to further install his Castro Chavismo in Mexico. His invitation is to all from the same countries they control: Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, Honduras, and everybody else tagging along, but not Mexicans. How is that? He has invited and welcomed all immigrants into Mexico, promising jobs, citizenship, and money, and openly advertising a free access to the U.S. border. That is right. He is promising entry to the U.S. to all immigrants who wish to make it into the U.S. He tells them Mexico will not stop you, but assist you. And it has been this way since November 2018. The wave after wave of immigrants have been encouraged to come to Mexico. For those who do not make it, his plan has been to make them immigrant voters for his corrupt pseudo-party Morena, a narco-infested entity. His pseudo-fight for human rights is nothing more than a selective move to protect those whom will give his political advantage in the upcoming election. He has abandoned human rights for all Mexicans while only promoting agendas created by them to manipulate public opinion, such that hideous LGBT agenda or feminist movement, which are nothing but decoys to stir up social peace, when in fact he is urinating on every single human right, which includes children suffering from cancer who took away the medications and treatments, accusing false corruption only to loot the money for himself. The waves of immigrants into the U.S. are part of the Cuban, Venezuelan, and Mexican narco regimes to distract and create discredit on the U.S. as a country. They are the They are the sick individuals behind all the immigrants demanding jobs, housing, and food, unlike anything before. It's all intentional. All these people are being given instructions to just demand. Do not give them anything, but denounce Lopez Obrador and send them back to the countries they control through their narco regimes. Kick them out. Wake up, United Statens.
Okay, so. Yes, babe. Yes. What is it? What? You just had treats. You'd think he was sick. He's not. Ever since he demanded that he be fed by me, be taken care of by me. He used to sit on a cabinet in the bathroom in South Carolina and look at himself in the mirror. And he would just go on and on. It was usually at noon, and he would just meow mournfully. And I'd be like looking at him going, what is he doing? All right. Compact for Migration, United Nations. All the countries that he just listed are signatories to the compact. It's not just the president in Mexico. It's all of these countries that are telling people who live in their country, go to the United States, you'll have a much better life. All orchestrated. So I don't know what happened with the audio. If any of you on both channels, Never Lose Truth and Never Lose Truth 5, noticed that my video had no audio last night. This is what I was posting. So this woman tweeted this out: another night with shootings and noise that should not be where I am. Had it not been for someone staying on the phone with me as I hid in my walk-in closet with my dog and a gun, I would have flipped out. Literal shotgun shots outside of my home, sirens everywhere. It is time for me to leave this city. No one should have to live like this, no one. Thank you for keeping me calm and staying with me. You know who you are. Just to put things into perspective, this is now almost a daily thing. I'm sharing a video of just one instance, and I've seen this where I am several times.
Sirens all over the place.
It's the helicopters looking for migrants. I can't hide this any longer, and I can only hide behind laughter for so long. Everyone needs to know what we are living with. When this nightmare hits your area, you will understand what we are going through down here at our Arizona border city. It's too late to close the border. They're already here. And I think, my hunch, this was a city, maybe Tucson, maybe a city in Lukeville, Arizona, by the port of entry. It could be Nogales, which is 20 minutes away from me. But yeah, when you see how many people are coming across the border and you're living on the border, and then you have the gall, the audacity of these mayors blaming Abbott, and forget about who Abbott is and what he's doing, but they're blaming a Republican governor for putting migrants on a bus and shipping them off to a sanctuary city. So Texas and Arizona and California and New Mexico as well, but not too much in New Mexico, those are the only states that have to deal with the millions and millions coming across? Really? It's quite something. So, yeah. Things are definitely heating up. So here, Border Patrol agent reaches for supplies, right here, while a female agent, alone, with all of these men from Africa, from India. Really? Okay. Well, I wouldn't want to be that female agent. And here is unbelievable footage was just sent to me from a friend of behind enemy lines. It appears buses are now dumping illegals off in the suburbs of Chicago and allowing them to take free train rides into the city whenever they want to go. Jesus.
Looks like there's some baby stuff in there. We just got word they dropped off a busload of migrants, western suburbs of Chicago, that they're heading to downtown Chicago at the train station. Train's coming in 3 minutes, so let's see what we can dig up. Where are you guys from? What country? Where? Venezuela? Downtown Chicago? You know where you're going? Where are you going?
Español, no entiendo.
No comprende?
No English.
Chicago. Do you have tickets?
Yes.
Where are you from?
From Haiti.
Where?
Haiti.
Haiti? You going to Indianapolis? Venezuela. You all family? Familia or no? Who gave you that? Did you get that here, this ticket?
Yes.
Someone gave you here in the bus?
The bus.
The bus driver gave it to you? Yeah, you have to check. So that guy's he's from Haiti. He's been on the road for a month. And he said they gave him these tickets on the bus. And then he's going to take the train downtown and is supposed to get to Indianapolis. It looks like somebody just dumped him off here, Downers Grove, Illinois, western suburb, Chicago. Ah, there you go. There's more. Where are you from? What country?
Chicago.
What country? Venezuela?
Chicago. Venezuela, Peru.
Venezuela, Peru. Hello. Where are you guys from? What country? Anybody speak English? Venezuela? Oh, everybody from Venezuela? How come you didn't take the train to Chicago? The next train?
Para Wisconsin.
You're going to Wisconsin? Wow. Milwaukee, Wisconsin? The train, you got tickets? Michigan, Milwaukee. Wow. So it looks like they gave her a ticket. They dumped a bunch of them off here in a bus. You saw the police officers wouldn't say nothing to us. And some people are going to Chicago, Indianapolis, Milwaukee, but they don't have instructions. And this train won't take them to Milwaukee, as you know. So I'll tell them in another translation.
Solo nos dijeron que cojamos el tren.
Paul, could you scan that ticket?
That's GPS coordinates
here.
Terry.
Okay.
GPS coordinates.
Okay. Oh, to get to Milwaukee, you have to take this train stop to Chicago, like the other people just did. Then you'll take a train from Chicago up to Milwaukee. It looks like they're going to go downtown Chicago, and they're going to have to find another way to get to Milwaukee. These were just GPS coordinates and not a ticket. So whoever dropped them off here at this station left them without any real instructions to get to any other locations, Milwaukee, Indianapolis. So we have people that were just dropped off in Downers Grove from...
Wow. Oh, babe is very energetic tonight. So yeah, okay, well, they're all over. They are all over. The well-dressed illegal alien asylum seeker was like, why you taking my picture, yo? Scenes from the border in Lukeville, Arizona. And this is pretty amazing. Eagle Pass, Texas. Little piece of information developing the organizational logistics of transfer migration, brought to you by the IOM. What?
Here we are in Eagle Pass, and that guy right there, he carries all the people's bags across, so when they get here, they don't have to carry their bags. That's his job.
Trucks are carrying all of their baggage? Okay. Wow. DOJ is Department of Justice is threatening to sue Texas if it moves forward with its strict new border security law, which is what I said when I posted on that border security law, which is anybody who's illegal in Texas gets arrested. Really? And, well, see, that's when rule of law suddenly takes effect again. Federal government says you can't do that. It's a federal issue. We're a joke of a nation. This might be the biggest lie of the year from Biden regime, which is, I want to be very clear, our borders are not open. Mayorkas. Breaking 7,000 coming up. This is Oscar Blue.
Oscar Blue for Real America's Voice News. We are located 73 kilometers away from the south border of Tapachula in the parts of Escuintla, where the caravan that started walking on the 24th of December, the migrant caravan that is the exodus of the poverty, that is the name of this caravan, with 8,000 migrant caravan. It started walking from the south border, and what they say is that there are more than 24 entities in this caravan. We are located at the epicenter right now, where they have walked 73 kilometers. There's a lot of children. What they have registered right now is more than 2,500 children, and also they are children that they're sick. There's there's a child that has cancer. There's another one that has kidney failure, and there's several different cases, aggravated cases, in this migrant caravan that is potentially going to be arriving to the borders of Del Rio, Texas, and Eagle Pass, Texas. That is what the majority of the migrants, they are telling us, that they want to go through the river. Ultimately, the migrants from Africa, they have heard that the entrance for them, it is through Lukeville, Arizona. So there's a vast majority of people from Africa that they are located right here from the parts that I just mentioned: Burkina Faso, Sierra Leone, Nigeria, and also Congo. This is the way that it looks. Tomorrow they're going to start walking around 4 o'clock in the morning to head north into the most difficult part, that is Mapastepec. This is a place where the humidity starts to hit. The migrants are extremely tired right now. They're looking forward to see if somebody's going to provide them with water, provide them with something for them to hydrate. As in the past experiences that I have heard, and the past experience that I have been witness, is that children have passed away during this journey between this particular point and the particular point of Mapastepec. Children had died of dehydration. So this is a really difficult, epicenter right here, as they'll wait tomorrow and see if the authorities are going to do something, the Mexican authorities, to provide them the permits of transit, or not provide them the permits of transit. Just remember, Anthony Blinken and Alejandro Mayorkas, today they visited the country of Mexico, and they are trying to find a pathway of a solution that it hasn't been a pathway. Let's be honest, the Biden administration has been the one where more migrants have died along the border with Mexico and the United States, has been the one that has created this humanitarian crisis in Central and South America, and it has been the one that is, found complicit of what has happened in the Darien Gap, of multiple migration, mass migration that has been happening inside of the Darien Gap, where the organized crime has been the one that has been taking advantage of the vulnerabilities of people and trafficking the people from Central and South America. I'm Oscar Blue for...
Why is he sweating? It's cold out? Maybe he's not where you are. Yeah. Here.
Señor, y hoy te pedimos que cuides de nuestras vidas, nuestras mujeres y nuestros hijos. Que cuides, Señor, que la carretera se nos acorte, Padre.
Today, more than 6,500 migrants, they started walking at 4 o'clock in the morning to the next municipal city that is...
Unbelievable. Breaking, walking with the caravan.
Oscar Blue for Real America's Voice News. We are walking right now with more than between 6,000 to 7,000 migrants. Early, we started walking at 4 o'clock in the morning. As we are continuing to move forward, they're going to walk today more than 34 kilometers to get to the next municipal city. The numbers of children inside of this large group, it is massive. They're talking about more than 2,500 children that they're walking in more than 24 countries in this massive caravan that is moving forward into the north of the state of Chiapas.
And they don't walk the entire way. We all know that. And I'm just, this is a snippet of the kind of violence that we are seeing all over the country. But if I were to load up on all of the articles and the videos of the violence that we are seeing all over the country, I'd get a community guideline strike. So, and that has happened to me before, but it's bad. So here, madness. Stephen Hutchinson, the man who yelled that he wants all white people dead before stabbing 2 teens on Christmas, was already released from prison. 2 weeks ago, he was released after allegedly attacking a woman, yelling about killing people. He has 17 prior arrests, and he's already been released. Okie dokie. Rule of law? No. Woman killed in a sledgehammer attack on a college campus in LA. I'm not even going to play these videos. Here, surveillance video shows Texas robber who uses a machete at a store. And he does. Okay. Liverpool in the UK. 3 men injured after city centre disturbance involving large group of males. What do you think? That's where I go now. It's hard not to. An Afghani criminal migrant squatter knocks out an unsuspecting native German man with a glass bottle. Well, yeah, isn't it unfortunate that the coalition, that's right, a whole lot of countries supported all of the wars, Afghanistan, Iraq, and now we have an awful lot of them coming into our countries. It's not just the United States, but he knocks them out and says, for Afghanistan.
Hallo, warte, das ist
Alter, ich hab
ein
jetzt Bock auf Meckes, Mann.
Ding. Das ist ein Ding.
Aber muss schon gleich.
Das ist ein Ding.
Scheiße. Sei mal leise.
Das ist ein Ding. Ich bin von Afghanistan. Das ist von Afghanistan.
Oh, they don't love any of us. Situation in Lampedusa is out of control. Last few hours, 25 boats with 900 illegal Muslim immigrants came into Lampedusa, which is a little island with a very, very, very small population of Lampedusians for Italy. And yeah, this has been going on in this little tiny island for, they just keep piling them up. Insane. People better start screaming their heads off as the world's elites are now making themselves underground bunkers. Truckers are also asking, what's going on, man? Here, a trucker delivering.
Hey, I'm delivering here. Into these caves. Look what the sign says. 5 million square feet available. Is I'm dreaming? 5 million square feet under here? Hey, I'm in the cave, man. I'm actually delivering pizza crust. I'm actually delivering pizza crust. Weighs only 15,000 pounds. Light as hell. I'm about 40 miles from the house. Hey, I'm delivering here. Into these caves. Look what the sign says. 5 million square feet.
That's a big underground. What? Underground city? Underground state? 5 million square feet. Okay. Alrighty. Well. It's weird. It feels surreal that, we just watch on a daily basis our country being taken over and Americans just going about their business like nothing. I find that very, very strange. So, yeah, do what you can, to wake people up and do what you can to help people. A lot are suffering, and it is very hard to ask for help, so please extend yourself. Don't wait for people, to ask. Just extend yourself, and it's a very hard time. So whole lot that I can say, but I'd love to see people just living honestly, speaking honestly, really, manifesting trust in their relationships, in their communities again. It's very, very important. Very. So, of course, stay safe. Thank you for showing up. Hope to see you tomorrow night. And on that note, I say good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.